Yes, and so we are live, everybody. Welcome once again. It's the channel's being Google Plus Hangout, and this afternoon we're looking at some controversy that trailed a statement released by the Senior Special Advisor on Media and Publicity to the President, that's Malam Shehu Garba, talking about some documents that were released before the 2015 presidential elections. With me, I have Benga Olorunpomi, who is in Lagos, Nigeria, and also Deji Adeyanju, who is in the United Kingdom. I'm not sure where exactly, but yes, he is in the United Kingdom, and I am also here in Lagos, just like Benga Olorunpomi. So Benga, I'm going to give you, like in football terms, the home advantage, as they speak, as they say, right? All right, so I'll give you the home advantage to go first. What do you make of that statement? I mean, there was so much furore, over the statement when it was released by the senior special advisor, of course, to the president, talking about those documents, saying the party doesn't know anything about it, the president doesn't know about anything about it, and it is now 100 days. In fact, it's exactly 100 days, but he is saying Nigerians shouldn't be so much expectant. Do you agree that the party didn't know and the president didn't know anything about that document or those documents?
Thank you, Victor, for this opportunity to talk about this very important issue. And just to correct you, I'm in Abuja, I'm not in Lagos.
Okay.
Um, Now, it's for me, it's actually interesting because the story that was written by Punch, that was published by Punch, my name was mentioned as the person who actually sent that document to them that they published. Um, it's unfortunate that Malam Garba Shehu wrote a piece, I think, in my own book was very interesting, educative piece on his views of the presidency of President Buhari so far. And that singular sentence about the president not him saying that he's sure that he can bet with his last kobo that the president did not know about that document became the centerpiece, became the only thing that everybody started talking about. That's the unfortunate thing. Um, while that has happened, we in my personal opinion, do not believe that the document, and we're talking about two documents here. The first is what I'll do, I think, in the first 100 days as president, which was released, compiled and released by the GMB Volunteers Group. If I'm not sure if I got that name right. And then another document, which is my covenant with Nigerians. Now, my covenant with Nigerians was drawn from the manifesto of the APC. Drawn directly from, there's nothing in that covenant that is not in the original manifesto of the APC. The content of that covenant is what he used to speak at town hall meetings. That's what the vice president used in every meeting he went to with the public sector, the private, everybody that the president and the vice president spoke with they were drawn from that document. So as again, Manan Shehu Garba, with respect to him, I I don't believe that the that particular document was released without the president's consent. However, the 100-day document, as I said, was developed by a youth group. I can't stay here and tell you that I know for sure that that document was released with the president, as a then candidate of the APC, Muhammadu Buhari's consent, because of course, at the Chatham House just before the election, he did mention that he's not going to commit himself to anything in 100 days. So I don't think, I don't believe he knew about that. So there are two issues here, my covenant and a 100-day document. So we
All
have
right.
to make those distinctions. Yeah.
Okay, very well, Benga. You've made your position quite frankly and very, very open and clear as well. So, did you let me now come to you? You heard Benga made his positions and all these
Yes. Yes.
issue that has been raising so much dust and so much concerns amongst Nigerians and so much controversy also along the circles of those who follow politics very well. But what do you make of it? You just heard Benga, who happens to be in the All Progressives Congress, like you said. What do you make of what he said? Do you agree with him, or do you have a different belief as to what transpired before those documents came out in the open?
Yes. Well, Benga has spoken very well, and may God bless Benga for his, his honesty and all that. We really appreciate that. You see, and that's what is expected of people, irrespective of party, and all that. Once something is wrong, you say it. Once something is right, you commend it and all that. Because I have on several occasions also commended General Buhari for some of the great things that he has done within these 100 days. Maybe that's in me, you know. When the issue came up, about when the issue came up about the 100 days and what Madam Shehu Garba.
Okay, there you go. I think his internet failed along the line. And yes, let's just wait and hope he comes back. But then let's just come back to you, Benga. I mean, Benga, there's been so much noise and so much talk about this document and about the responses that you people have been making. And some people were of the opinion that, okay, why didn't the APC debunk these documents as soon as they came to, the public for? Why 3 months after they were released into the public domain? Why were you responding just around that time? Okay, just before you answer that, I think Deji is back, and yeah, let's
Yes,
just get to him and hear what he was saying earlier before he
yes,
answered.
yes. For the 100 days, my covenant with Nigerians, it was very clear from day one that those were the things that Buhari had promised that he was going to do. Part of it was that he was going to declare his assets, and that he also said that all those who are going to work with him are going to declare their assets and all that, and he also promised some very quick wins, very quick wins. And when Garba Shehu came to deny, the promises, many of us were very worried because we started saying, going by what we have seen in these 100 days, the body language of the president and those who work with him, we're beginning to think that, are we sure that before the end of this government that, the presidency or the APC will not deny that our president's name is not Muhammadu Buhari? Because we're very worried. Because again, it's one thing to say that it's if they had come out to say that, we realize that, we cannot do some of these things, or say that these things are not they are not achievable within 100 days, it will have been understandable. But complete denial is something that really, really baffled many Nigerians. And the reason why the PDP as a party did not respond to the issue of the denials of the 100 days, my covenant in Nigeria, is because, the PDP didn't want to get in the fray things because the PDP felt that this was a thing with the Nigerian people. So for Garba Shehu to come and now deny that covenant to the people, which the president went around, like what Benga has said, town hall meetings, he campaigned with these things, at rallies he emphasized it, you understand? And even at interviews, because he had interviews in the media, with newspaper houses, with televisions, stations, and with even channels, he always re-emphasized, such things. And you will recall that when the president went to Abeokuta and when he went to Port Harcourt, he re-emphasized some of the contents, in my covenant with Nigeria in the rally. And we are extremely worried that, because for the past 100 days, you will discover the body language has been denials, denials, and denials. And we're very happy when, a platform like Premium Times, that is APC inclined, did a fact check and said the presidency actually lied, that Buhari actually had the 100 days covenant with the people. So for us in the PDP, we see it as the fact that this is, the 100-day covenant thing is Buhari versus the people of Nigeria. So he has betrayed the people who have so much trust and so much hope and confidence in him. Because if anybody had done this, nobody will complain. Buhari cannot be seen to either support or do this, because we know for a fact that Garba Shehu is not just talking because he wants to talk. He's talking with the consent of the president. They spoke with the president. The president gave him clearance to go and deny the 100-day covenant. And most of the campaign promise. And you can see after the denial, there was another denial again, where the president said Buhari didn't promise anything, and Buhari didn't promise any specifics. So that means the issue of the 1 meal per day, 5,000 naira, the power generation, job creation, that means there is practically nothing, no promise. That's what the presidency is invariably saying. And believe me, in the next couple of months, you will see what they'll be doing. They will be blaming the former government. They will not, from what we have seen, you can see every time they keep releasing figures. So number of money looted. So number of money. Governments don't cry. If people are stealing money, what we expect them to do is just ask the people to court. Now, look at what happened to Dasuki. They went to the man's house, searched the man's house, and he said he was looking for arms. But finally, he was charged with unlawful possession.
All right, so I was just going to say that if we will keep our conversations to the 100 days covenant, or those documents that were allegedly released, it will be really, really highly appreciated. So, but yes, you made your points before you moved into the issue of what the government will be doing in days to come, and also what they did to the former NSA. While you were making that comment, Benga said he has some response to all that you've said, but also while you were making your comments, Tunde Leye also joined us. He's in Lagos, Nigeria again. But then Tunde, I'll come back to you in a bit because Benga wants to reply to some of the things that DG said. So just hold on, and I'll get back to you in just a moment. Benga, can you please make your response as briefly and as concise as you can make it?
This and this our hangout is to educate each other. So let me do that again. Okay. There are two documents in question here: my covenant with Nigerians, and another one, 100 days. What Buhari will do in the first 100 days. Now, the covenant with Nigerians came from the manifesto, drawn from the manifesto. Top points. There are top points that were developed, amplified, and sent to Nigerians to understand what Buhari was going to do in the life of his presidency. The 100 days document, as I said earlier, is the one that I know did not emanate from the party, emanated from a group within the party. A group that sent, and I admit that I was one of those who sent their document around, but that document did not come from the party. It is the covenant with Nigerians that is the issue here. And that document states that we will give 1 meal per day to all children in schools, 5,000 naira per month to the 25 poorest people in the country, 25 million poorest in the country. Only on Thursday, the Vice President reiterated that those promises were going to be kept at a meeting with at a conference with the I think ICANN, where he reiterated that those things will be done. So Mr. Adeyanju has to realize that that the 100 days thing did not pan out as he expected. The reason it didn't pan out that way was because that document did not emanate from the party. And Buhari had already said he was not going to commit himself to a 100-day thing, a 200-day thing, a 1-year thing, but that he was. But we should look at that covenant with Nigerians as the document that came from the party and the document that will be respected down the line. Again, with respect to Madam Garba Shehu, I think that document is real. The man who put it together will be making a statement on it in agreement when by the time the things are cleared up with Madam Garba Shehu very, very soon. So Nigerians have nothing to fear. All the promises that President Buhari made during the campaigns will be kept. They have shown that he's an honorable man. So there's nothing to fear.
All right, you say, Benga, there is nothing to fear, but along the line also, while you were making your submissions, Shehu Onigbinde joined us. Shehu, we can't see you and we also can't hear you, but we hope that you're there and you can hear us and you can also see us. We hope to hear from you and see you in just a moment. But just before we come back to you, let's hop on to Babatunde Ajileya, who had joined us some minutes earlier to hear what he has to say. A lot has gone down. A lot of water now has gone down the bridge in between that time that you came on board and told us we're actually in transit. Thankfully, we thank God for journey mercies. You're where you are now and about to make your contributions to this conversation. What do you make of the whole issue? I mean, a lot has gone down, and Benga and DG have said their own thoughts. So what do you make of the whole issue?
All right. Can you hear me, Victor?
I can hear you. Sorry. Go ahead.
Okay, that's cool. I was on the road whilst Benga and Deji were speaking, so I didn't get a lot of what they said. But I like a couple of things I heard. Deji talked about that this thing is between the presidency and the people of Nigeria. So it's always important to make a distinction between when it's the ruling party against the opposition party, and when you're talking about the presidency and the people of Nigeria. As regards the 100-day covenant that went around, first thing I'd like to say is there was excessive energy that was applied to attempting to deny this thing. That's the first thing. The second thing that I would like to say is that the timing of the denial is suspect. A lot of the reasons why Nigerians voted for Buhari are contained in that, as well as the party manifesto. And it is disingenuous for the spokespeople of the president to come out and try to tell Nigerians that they don't know what they're saying. And I trust that Benga would say things that center around being an insider, and so you have a lot more information. And I heard you speaking about two separate documents. Information about two separate documents came up 5 days before 100 days became, before we reached 100 days. Again, the timing is suspect. The content of those two documents, because I've seen both of them, are essentially the same. The difference between the two documents is that one spoke about timelines and 100 days, and the other one didn't say so. Essentially, the contents are the same. So when Garba Shehu was trying to be clever by half, by saying Buhari didn't sign the document, Buhari signed the document. He signed that one that didn't have timelines. He didn't sign the one. Essentially, the promises are the same. And so when people apply milestones, I read something Batari wrote this morning about measuring, and another company, you can like the analysis, SBM Intelligence, did an analysis of Buhari's 100 days. He has spent about 6% of the number of days he could spend in office. He has achieved 8% of what he set out to achieve, which, I mean, if you look at it, looks like a good score. That's on the surface of it. But when you dive in deeper, the essentials are not happening. And that's where people have an issue. Yeah, that 100-day covenant distills some of the things that people believe would be essential to lay the foundation for achieving all of the other promises that the presidency. So if you're doing a project management type of thing for this, you would say that he hasn't achieved the milestone that days. So what would then happen is that you expect him to double up over the next set of days to be able to, and so people will measure him at different intervals, 6 months, at 1 year, which will provide probably better parameters to measure him. But the party attempting to be clever by half and telling Nigerians there were no promises made sounds suspect to me. Trying to run circles around people saying there were 2 documents is suspect. Because it will amount to a misrepresentation. Those are my thoughts in summary. I heard you tell Deji to restrict the thoughts that he will share to the 100-day covenant, so I will do exactly the same. But if the conversation requires me to say a couple more things, then I think it will be right to say them. But I think she'll just join, and I think we can hear Sheu's views.
All right, let's, like you said, you will keep your comments tuned to the main topic of the conversation and also to hear from Shehu. All right, Shehu, you just heard from Tunde, and before you came, Deji, and also Benga Amaloruko. I mean, we're also speaking about this very, very contentious and, like Tunde said, suspect issue. Now, quoting Tunde, what do you make of the whole issue? What do you think about it?
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, but we can't see
I
you.
don't know what's wrong with my laptop. I tried to restart it, but the video is not coming on.
Okay, that's fine. Find your picture.
Yeah, but basically, the critical thing is I feel Garba Shehu, which is the special advisor to the president on media, got a bit of something wrong. And why he got it wrong is that he could have said, yes, it was not genuine to say, oh, when we released this document, we didn't say it was 100 days. We didn't say we're going to do all of this 100 days. But that document was widely publicized in newspapers. It was called the Covenant with Nigerians, and it was really signed. And even the fact that it was 100 days, that for a long time, even the party itself, the All Progessives Congress, not come and say, oh, this was not an 100-day promise. When this old issue came out, I flared up also to say, why would you, in the middle of the game, try to disown a document that was widely known? But it was clear that based on the Chatham House reports that was transcribed and put online, it was said that even the president himself, when referring to that document, said he doesn't want to be part of it. And clearly showing that there was a problem about communication around the party doing that. I think the party is more clear about what is his strategy or his manifesto. Even till now, the manifesto of the party on the website has been edited. You know, there were things that were there before that are no more there. If you go to the party's website, things around we're going to give 5,000 naira to 24 million Nigerians. It's not there anymore online. So, and this really strikes our integrity of the party. Do you want to say this is your word and you don't want to abide by it again? So these are the clear discussions that we must keep having. When we say this is your manifesto, and this also tells about future election. Politicians, political parties must have their manifesto well documented, well researched, well tested to say, can I achieve this before? No, let's even break it down. The covenant that was shared is even achievable, even by the resource requirements that is necessary. 25 million Nigerians earning 5,000 naira per year, per month, per year is going to raise up to 1 trillion, up to 1 trillion naira in a year. You need almost 900 billion naira to feed all the school children in Nigeria. If you're going to do that effectively at 100 naira per meal per day. So if we put all of that together, did the party actually put a pen and a paper to say, is this even achievable considering the kind of resources that we have as a country? Over the past few years, unless we're going to say we're going to sack all the entire civil service and we're not going to pay back our debt, we're going to get that kind of money, or we're going to do some magic around our tax system that we're going to triple it or quadruple it. So I don't think, personally, looking at those documents, I don't think enough thought process was put into it around costing it effectively. And I also think maybe that's why it now looks difficult to now keep up with them, and maybe that's what Garba Shehu is trying to do. But in reality, it also shows the flaws in terms of our politicking and our political party system when it comes to campaigns. But it's an evolving discussions. A few years ago, we didn't even have manifesto at all, or documents, old people too. But now I think going forward, there's a need for them to have more deeper research. So how much will these things cost, and to be more careful about what it costs.
All right, Shehu, now you're speaking also from the economic point of view, but earlier before you came on board, Gbenga had said that Gbenga was making reference to a meeting the Vice President, as Professor Yemi Osinbajo, had with an association that came to pay him a courtesy visit in his office, reiterating the fact that the APC still stands by the promise of the 5,000 naira, even though, I mean, I shouldn't be speaking for Gbenga. Gbenga, I think you're here, and I think you should be responding to Shewun's concerns about meeting this campaign promise, because he's laying out figures. He's talking about 900 billion naira, and trying to make sure that 25 million people get the 5,000 naira stipend that the APC promised in the manifesto, or in the supposed or alleged 100 days covenant the party signed and distributed allegedly as well, again, before the elections were conducted in April. What do you have to say to that?
While I'm not speaking for the APC, let's just make a comparison. Shew's calculation about the 5,000 to 25 million poorest is right, about getting to 1 trillion, just over a trillion a year. Now, I think that there's a what is I want to term the tyranny of the majority when it comes to the issue of cash, this money being given out. Shehu, as is I have a lot of respect for him, but when AMCON wiped the help build the banks out to the tune of over 5 trillion, nobody said anything. The banks were built out to the tune of over 5 trillion. Nobody said anything. It was normal. Everybody let it go. This 5 trillion we're talking about will fund this cash transfer program for more than 5 years. Okay. So I'm sorry. May I? What I'm trying to say here is that if really, and we campaigned on the strength of these programs, these social programs, on using the school feeding program to energize investment in farming, investment in the value chain, investment in poultry, investment. That's what we campaigned on the strength of. So whatever we'll have to do to make that money available to do the programs, we will do. And I'm happy that we have a manifesto that contains all these elements. And I'm saying here and now that Nigerians should hold the party to account if those promises are not kept. How it's going to happen, leave it to the presidency to sort out.
Yes, go ahead.
We throw around. You spoke and said 5 trillion was used to bail the banks out. That is incorrect.
Okay.
The total asset base of those banks, all the banks that were bailed out, is not 5 trillion. So I wonder if, they are bailing them out for all of their asset base, which is not
all
5 trillion.
All the money that was out there, loans that they gave out.
And you need to when you throw figures around like this, you need to be certain about the figures. 5 trillion was not used to bail out banks. It is impossible to have used the budget of the whole country is 4-point-something trillion.
Exactly.
You cannot use 100% of the budget to bail out banks. Then you need to be certain about figures and go around.
These ones were wiped off the books. These ones were wiped off the book, but this is not an economy class. Right. It is not an economy. It is about the practicability.
Those banks were sold recently. Those banks were sold recently. Now, would you let me speak?
Yes, please.
Those banks were sold recently. 2 of them were sold recently. One of them was sold for less than 100 billion. One of them was sold for 120 billion. How in the world would they have been bailed out for 5 trillion if the valuation of the whole bank was less than 200 billion? The 2 of them.
When these banks
to stop this
again,
goes around to craft narratives that are wrong, that are incorrect.
All right.
Maybe
Benga, you need to let me finish.
Okay,
this
please
is
Benga,
not.
you need to let me
let's
finish.
bring on Tunde, please. Let's do this one by one so we don't have so many people talking at the
So,
same time. And
so
then
I have, you need to let me finish. We need to ensure that we don't throw figures around that are incorrect to craft wrong narratives. That's the first thing I'm going to say. The second thing I'm going to say, to continue in the line of thoughts that Shehu initially laid out, we cannot. I mean, so when many of the campaign promises were being made, a lot of people raised questions and were shouted down. For example, in the manifesto, there's a promise to build 4 million houses, 1 million per year. We're at one third of the first year, about one third of the first year. Not a single house has been built. And we did raise the issue that building 1 million houses in a year, promising that in a year, was the cost of 1 million houses in 1 year is more than the budget of the country. It's twice the budget of the country. Where is this money going to come from? People were shouted down. Now, the logical thing to do would be to allow the government a leeway to say, oh, we found out we can build 1 million houses. And so this is what we can build based on the realities that we have seen, especially because oil is down and all of that. But the correct thing to do as citizens is to tell the government, you said 1 million houses, you have built 50,000. Oh, 50,000 is okay, you've tried. But against 1 million houses, you have not done well. You've done 5%. And that is exactly how this government will be measured by citizens. I did have a conversation with a couple of my APC friends when these promises were being made. And I told them these things I'm saying. And they said, oh, if the government doesn't live up to the manifesto, we are the ones that will hold this government into account. But what has happened over the past 100 days is that I've seen a couple of these friends going out of their way to defend things that I feel should be the first steps in ensuring that you hold the government to account. We need to ensure that this doesn't happen. Thank you.
all right, Tunde and Benga, do you have anything to say before we continue in response to some of the
I
comments Tunde raised?
I agree with Tunde on the need for Nigerians to hold um, the government to the manifesto, the promises that they made. Uh, yes, promises have been made, and I know for a fact that every promise that was made, efforts are being made to fulfill them. Serious efforts are going into fulfilling them. And on the issue of houses and realities of the day, I'm sure very soon a state of the union statement kind of on where we are as a country. I'm sure plans are going into that to deliver that to the people and let the people know exactly where we are as a country from the
Uh,
office of the president.
Okay, very well. Hope that comes up as soon as possible, like you're saying. But Deji, let me come to you. You've been quiet for a while now. This is 3 months into the administration of President Muhammad Buhari, and this denial is coming up. What now happens? I mean, if they deny it at this point in time, what now happens to that document? What will Nigerians be looking out for? I mean, what would you be looking out for since you are a Nigerian?
No, he circulated the covenant.
All right. Uh, 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 all right, Deji, you seem to be a man of many words, but we have a very short time span. So, Tunde, let me just come to you. While Deji was speaking, he made mention of the president spending more time traveling around instead of meeting the promises that he made during the campaigns. Do you think the travels were not needed, looking at the fact that he went to the United States, he went to some of the neighboring countries, that are also being battered by the Boko Haram insurgency? He went to the European Union, the meeting of the G7. Do you think those trips were needed, or do you think otherwise?
So needed, and I'll tell you why. First thing is in the promises that he made, and I don't know where did you got the 81 promises. The number of promises I've created is 170 promises. But part of those promises was that it will strengthen relationship with a couple of other countries, drive a regional response to the security challenges, both Boko Haram and in the North Central. And so I believe that those travels were essential to making those things happen. Having said that, it brings us back to the necessity of the president working with a team. And it has taken a long time, an unexpectedly long time, for this team to be put in place. So the president should be doing all of these things he's doing. But all of the other things, all of the other campaign promises that work should have started on, work has not started on them for a couple of reasons. Because there is no team in place to make those things happen. When it does not have the president's personal attention, or where it is not one of the key strengths of the president. That is why it is important and essential that it has taken too long to put the core of the economic team in place. It has taken too long for policy directions, clear policy directions to be communicated and to be essentially shared. It has taken too long for these things to happen because we are expecting this government to run on the personality of the president. It cannot work that way. It requires a team effort. And for example, a good number of the campaign promises of the president require collaboration with the National Assembly. What we have had in the National Assembly for the last 100 days have been crisis fighting, what are those things that they do called now? Extensions, what are they called again? They adjourn sitting and go into recess. And no work is being done on the critical things. They mentioned things about state policing and structuring all of those things. Those kind of things cannot be done without active collaboration between the executive and the legislature. And the prerogative to drive this collaboration. And we can take the example of Obama, the way he drove his healthcare, Obamacare thing. The prerogative to drive that collaboration falls on the president. The prerogative to put a team in place to ensure that when things do not have his personal attention, those things do not go unattended, lies on the president. I want to believe, and I'm expectant that over the next couple of weeks, we will get the core of the economic team in place as promised. We will get the core of we will see the National Assembly begin to work. We will see the president actively collaborating with the National Assembly to deliver, to begin the work of delivering on his promises. But straight answer to what you asked, it was essential for the president to make those trips. It was essential because it is critical to the effort to fulfill its promises as per security.
All right, I'm talking about security now as one of the major and one of the main purposes of every government. Of course, like they say in the Constitution, it is the constitutional duty of every government to protect the lives and the properties of its citizens. So, today you're saying that yes, the president needed to make those trips because it was part of efforts to strengthen security. But I'm sure, let me come to you now. Speaking about those travels, yes, the economy is also one of the major responsibilities of the government. Did you see those travels as one of those trips that will strengthen economic relations between Nigeria and other countries and also bolster Nigeria's economy? Yes, I can. Please go ahead.
I think most of the things in the promises, like you have said, like for example, feeding school children has a huge value chain. Meaning that if we get that right, if we can be able to do that, there's a big possibility that the entire agricultural sector wired around that prospers. It's really great. But sometimes one of the key concerns about the sustainability of these projects, because we must look at it very well. I won't like to make a lot of reference to Oshun, but the reality of the matter is that I've always said this thing strongly that if we're going to do things in a socialist manner, then it's good to feed children. But the question is this sustainable? Do we have enough capacity, enough wiggle room to sustain this? Basically, you find people, even Gulf economies that are oil rich, removing forced subsidies. You find people who are trying to remove all these kind of benefits, the direct benefit, because we find that in the long run it becomes very, very sustainable. I feel it to be a good approach, but we must look at it from one hand. How do we sustain it 5, 6, 7 years from now? Our biggest resource is still from oil. All dynamics shows that we don't control that space. We don't control how much oil price goes in the crude market. Taxes, we are not doing well. We have 4.6% of our GDP, when an average economy in sub-Saharan Africa does 50% tax to GDP. So until we be able to tick those boxes, if we triple our tax income now, and we are able to show you clearly that we can triple our tax income, we can make a lot more savings in terms of how we manage our resources in terms of the expenditure. Oil prices, definitely we can manage that, but even we can say, okay, this is what we are budgeting on $40 per barrel, and we can still do this in the next 5 years. Yes, we can start it. But if we are going to do this, and we're going to keep having more debt burden to the country, because we want to do this, and because we feel it is populist, then it's going to be a problem in the long run. That's just my own point. Yeah.
All right, your own point. I hope, like you make those, listen, I hope it goes out and if it's been implemented, I hope it does pay at the long run. But we'll have to hold it here. We're 10 minutes to the end of our time. Being, I'll come to you now to get your last word just before we close this conversation. What would be your last word as regards what we've been talking about all through the past 50 minutes?
Again, I want to thank you for the opportunity to speak about this. First off, the controversy that arose on the two documents, the Covenant with Nigerians and 100 Days, I wish it didn't happen, but then it happened and it is room to learn. The timing wasn't the best, but at the same time, there are lessons to be learned, and I hope those lessons have been taken on board. I can tell Nigerians that we couldn't have made a better choice. Given the options on ground, we have the best man for the job, the man who is committed to the job. The issues that people have about ministers, about the team, those issues will be sorted in due course. The man went out saying that this month, in September, the team will be on ground. The man is a thinking man. He's the kind of person who takes his time. He has taken the decision to understand the problems fully before handing off responsibilities to people to be ministers and all that. So Nigerians have nothing to fear, and on the promises that have been made, I know for a fact that many of them the promises will be kept. And Nigerians, as you said, as Tunde, I forget, okay, Shehu said, there's a manifesto that Nigerians can hold us to account for. So I think we're in good hands with President Muhammadu Buhari.
All right, Benga, like you said, we're in good hands. Yes, that's the hope of every Nigerian, to be in good hands and to see those promises that were made before the elections implemented and fulfilled. But thank you very much once again. I'll come now to Babatunde Ajile just to get your last word as well before we wrap up the conversation.
I'm not in APC, I'm not in PDP. Therefore, I can speak as an ordinary citizen, and I know the things that are important to me as a citizen. A good number of them are encapsulated in the manifesto of the APC. We expect that the APC will stay true to this manifesto. We expect a bit more speed. We expect a bit more balance. We expect a bit more urgency. We understand that the president is a thinking man, as has been sold over and over to us again. We do not want a government that is majoring on the minors. We want things that should be routine to be routine. Things like, we shouldn't be spending time discussing things like asset declaration and the likes. Those are not important things. So we expect that this government will not devolve into the one that will make those minor things into the important things. We want to see the much vaunted dividends of democracy, and this government needs to understand that citizens are a lot more informed, citizens are a lot more interested, and we will hold the government to account for every single thing that they have promised. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Tunde. You spoke like a Nigerian, of course, who has concerns and who has stuff that he wants the government to do for him at the tail end of their stay in government. But just to moving forward also, Dejade and Drew, let me just hear from you also. What would be the last word?
Victor, well, thank you very much for the platform. You know, for us, you know, we are extremely concerned that, you know, in 100 days, this government cannot point to one thing that it has done. You know, that day when the government was still busy denying the campaign promises, you recall that Boko Haram, that was on the 1st of September, Boko Haram, you know, struck on horseback. They killed 80 Nigerians. The government did not even issue a statement, at least under the clueless Jonathan, according to what they say. Abati usually issues this statement regularly. And you recall the next day, the same Boko Haram again on horseback killed 26 Nigerians. That's 106 people that were killed in 2 days. From May 29 to today that Buhari has taken over, Boko Haram has killed more than 1,238 Nigerians. The government barely responds. We are not even saying stick to the campaign promise of crushing Boko Haram within 3 months. You understand? We are just simple things like asset declaration becomes an issue. You know, they are telling us how their cows multiplied from 150 to 250. That this is not the reason why people voted for Buhari. Like you know, the last contributor has said we should stop. Government is not a petty business. This government should get to work. There are real issues, you know, on the ground. Look at what and we ask for simple things. We ask that you fulfill campaign promises. They call us wailing wailers. We ask that you appoint ministers. They tell us fullness of time. Simple things that we ask for, you know, and they just don't give. For instance, just yesterday, you recall that Reuters did an exclusive story on lack of policy hurts Nigeria's economy as Nigerian economy is going down. Reuters also joined the wailing wailers, where the economy of Nigeria is going down. You can see it. We have also noted that we can no longer go to the ATM and withdraw sufficient money. When you go to the ATM now, I think it's 60,000 naira that you withdraw. This was how Greece started. If in 3 months or in 100 days, Buhari cannot constitute an economic team and realizing how the economy is going down, every Nigerian who cares about the country should be worried. We have not seen a single thing that this government has done in 100 days. We're not saying they should list 10 things, just one thing. What is the one thing that Buhari has done in 100 days? Just one thing, nothing, except excuses, denials, and more propaganda. Every time they issue statement is to either tell one lie or to cover a lie that has been told. We want an end to this situation. We want Buhari to govern the country. Enough of probe. Probe the people. We want to see people in court standing trial. And we don't want trial on social media or trial in the newspapers. Thank you very much.
Again, Deji, there you go, a man of many words. But yes, of course, like you said, you did make mention of gory statistics of how many people that have been killed. We do hope, yes, like the president has said, he has given the marching orders to the Nigerian military to crush Boko Haram in the next 3 months. And we hope that, yes, by the end of those 3 months, it will be brought to its knees and Nigerians can say happily that the Boko Haram has been successfully crushed. But just to go again, Olusegun Onigbinde is also on the Hangout, and also we'll be coming to you, Shehu, to get your own closing words before we go. Shehu, you can hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Go ahead.
My closing words will just be that the president should start to govern. There's still so much propaganda that goes up and down, and I don't think we need that right now. We need people to just say, this is the clear policy framework. We need to get that one. It's interesting that this is a more...
Oh, sadly, I think we have lost Shehun's audio. Shehun, we can't hear you anymore, and we hope...
look at the exercise of quality in both.
All right, Shehun, we kind of lost your audio.
Okay, can you get me now? Okay,
yes, can you start over again?
I'm saying that I would say the president needs to start governing with a clear framework. A friend of mine says, no one will make an investment decision based on the body language. That's clear. We need a clear policy statement to say, this is what we want to do in the economy, this is what we want to do in agriculture, this is what we want to do in health, this is what we want to do in education, this is our plan on solid minerals, this is our plan even for the health sector, so that we are clear about going, and we can all fit into that frame. And until everybody sees that investors and issues around growth will still keep climbing down, and that's very, very critical. So I would say also on the promises, be honest about it. We can't do this. We don't have the resources. It's more clear when you're more honest than when you're trying to deny it, as Garba Shehu wants to do with the covenant with Nigerians. I hope for the best. I'm hopeful in him. He's our president. We have given him a 4-year mandate. We'll keep holding him accountable to his promises, and we hope he will also give us his best as a nation. Thank you.
All right, Shehu Onigbinde, thank you very much. Also, bring our Lauren Pomi and Adeyanju Deji, and also Babatunde. Yeah, thank you all for coming this afternoon on the program, on the Hangout, and sharing your thoughts. It's been a wonderful 1 hour of, yes, so many great ideas and so many great thoughts about how the country has been run and about how the controversy that was generated by a statement released by the Senior Special Advisor to the President on Media and Publicity, Malam Garba, came about to many Nigerians in the past week. But that's how we call it wraps at this hour. Thank you all, of course, for coming on the program once again. But I'll see you guys next week when we come up with another topic that will be burning in the country. I'm Victor Matthias, and it is a Google Plus Hangout for Channels Me.